So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this new podcast episode. This time, my guest is another Frenchman, Julien Chameroy in French. So, hi, Julien. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you for having me today.
So, yeah, two Frenchmen for the price of one today. So, just a quick introduction about you. You were born in France. Your life was profoundly changed at the age of 16 by a series of spiritual encounters. And these transformative experiences became the foundation of your first book, Doorway to Oneness. So I've read your book. It's really astonishing. You have so many experiences to talk about. So I'm going to let you talk now. Can you introduce yourself briefly and what is your background basically?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Julien Chameroy, and I'm Burgundy. This is where I'm from. I live in Paris now, and I work in the industry as a travel agent, mainly for Japan and also France, of course. And while doing all this, I had some interesting experiences in Burgundy and also in Paris.
So basically, you were seeing and feeling non human entities around you all the time from a very young age. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, as a kid, I wasn't really thinking about the experience itself, but I always felt that I was not alone, something beyond what you can see with your eyes. And I could not see, but I could hear and I heard, and I could feel presences as well. So I would hear those presences, whatever they have to say to me, and that was part of my everyday life. One of them was, and I do remember it very clearly, I was playing with little cars in my room, and suddenly I heard, try to remember that the reality is something you can see, not with your eyes, but beyond your five senses. So I let you imagine as a kid, you're just playing with cars and, I'm not sure I understand exactly what it means, but I could also feel what it means. That message itself was not just words, but also has a feeling. I really received it and I felt intrigued about it. So I was thinking, what does it mean that reality is beyond what I can see? I mean, as far as I can see, that's reality. And I really felt, no, no, it's really from the inside. You have to open another eye. And that eye is really able to see reality.
And you never thought it was just your imagination, or you were doubting the messages you received?
I wanted to be my imagination for sure, because I was afraid of our presences, because I was not looking forward to hear stuff like that out of the blue, especially when you're a kid. So I wanted it to be my imagination, and I try to convince myself it is your imagination.
You said in your book it was like a hand on your shoulder from behind, and when you turned back, there was no one.
Yes, absolutely. So I do remember that day very clearly. I was probably 16, 17, and I was writing in my journal because one thing I was starting very earlier on is to write about those experiences. And so I was writing about some experience that I had the previous day when I felt that hand on my shoulder. That was during the day. And so I turned around, I was in my room, no one was there. So, okay, let's just pretend that nothing happened. And so I turned back to my diary, and that happened again. And that second time, I just could not, I was too much for me. I know they or he or she meant well, for sure, but that was too much to handle for me. So I just escaped from my room.
And how could you know who were these entities, like deceased loved ones or dark entities?
So yeah, that's a good question. I had no idea at first. So what I was thinking is maybe the previous owner of the house we're living in right now is still in the house.
Hmm.
And maybe someone needs to tell him or her that you are on the other side now. So maybe it's time for you to go somewhere else because we're here now. So that's what my first guess. And I do remember asking my mom also, do you feel presences in that house? Because sometimes I feel that there's someone. And she said to me, well, I do feel also presences from time to time. So at the time, I try many things. I try to pray, and I try also to talk to the president and say, to him or her that I think you are on the other side now, and I think it's time for you to go towards the light or somewhere else because this is our house now and we're gonna take care of it, but you know, we can't be living in the same house. So I tried that many times. That didn't work.
They didn't leave.
No, no, the presence was still here. But you know, at some point I was thinking, the presence is just here. I mean, the present doesn't harm me. It's not trying to do something bad to me. So
And was it at that time that you saw your deceased grandfather on your bed at night?
it was around the same period of time. Yeah, that's right. My grandfather actually passed away, and my mom for many months now felt him, felt his presence in the house. And she was just telling me almost every day, I felt him today, I heard him today, and I didn't feel, didn't see, and didn't hear anything on my side. So I was thinking, maybe she is going through, a very difficult time right now, and it's hard for her
Mm.
to say goodbye. But after 6 months, I started to think that it's a little long now. Maybe she needs to move forward or maybe work on moving forward from that because I don't think it's going to help her feeling his presence like that every single day. And when I thought that night I saw him, he woke me up in the middle of the night and he was sitting on the bed.
Mm.
And that day, actually, I had another experience. So that's two different experiences right there. And I'm happy you actually decided to ask me this question because, well, before that day, I saw a UFO for the first time with a neighbor.
Okay.
Both of us, we saw it. Okay, so that's a UFO. It appeared in front of us. It did all kind of different, movements and all that. It's not a plane. It's not a shooting star. It's not a helicopter. We check all the boxes. It came pretty close to us and it disappeared many times to reappear somewhere else. So, okay, got it. That's a UFO. All right.
It was like a light?
It was like a ball of light. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But after seeing that UFO, something else started. When you see a UFO, it's not just seeing it, there's something else with your consciousness. There's
Mm.
something is happening. And I had no idea about that until a new phenomena happened. So basically, mostly at night, few presences, not just one, would come to my house and come to where I'm sleeping, my bedroom.
Mm.
And I would feel really afraid of that because it feels so strong. The presence is so strong that I would have to get out of bed and just turn on all the lights in the house and check by myself that no one is there because I have the feeling that someone's there and something's going to happen to me. And yet I go and I check each and every room and there's no one, but I know there's someone. So something is, happening inside me. I get very confused. I go back to my room and I cannot turn off the light because I'm so afraid. I know that someone's going to come in. And that experience happened to me many, many times. And so that day when my grandfather appeared to me, behind him, I saw also other presences. And these presences were not human beings, they were different. And there were at least four. What was the most astonishing for me is to see that they had something around them, just like some light around them, coming out of them, the being. And that light was so beautiful. So, oh my gosh, I've never seen something like that. And my grandfather was in front of that on my bed, and he had nothing like this. He looked so young and healthy.
Mhm.
And he didn't say anything to me. The only thing that I felt from him that he was concerned about me because of the presence that he also could see and feel.
Okay.
And the reason why I understood after that those presences were actually linked to the UFO I saw earlier is because one night the same presence came and I heard in my mind, if you want to see another UFO, you can just go to your window right now and it's right there. And I really felt it. I felt the presence of it right there. And so I said, No, I don't want to see it. Absolutely not. No, 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 that's enough. Thank you. And then it disappeared. And it's like, ooh, oh my gosh, that was close. But I made the connection. And so when they came back after, I said, oh, okay. So that's linked to that phenomenon. And the reason why it happens like that is really because I think the UFO phenomenon is really triggering with our consciousness. And that's especially the case for me because it really, it changed my whole perspective on things.
Yes, and it's a good point because usually we tend to make a separation between ghost and the afterlife and
That's right.
deceased loved ones. On one side, like they are beyond the veil,
Yeah.
basically. On the other side, whatever you want to call it. And on the other hand, you have UFOs that are real in 3D and coming in the sky. But as you said, I think most UFOs can switch on and off from this 3D reality.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. One thing I learned from them is that first, it's really not about doing things, it's more about being. Your inner state is so important because we're basically not just a body, but also an entity made of energy, so to speak. So that energy has a frequency and you are responsible of your own frequency. So when you change your frequency, then you can actually, access different kind of information or, experience certain things that you could not if you were in a different frequency. And I've experienced that many times with them.
And at some point, did you decide to channel them to know what they wanted to convey to you as a message?
I did not feel that I had the ability to do that, but someone else came into my circle and she was able to do that. So we tried.
What did they tell you?
They talked a lot about consciousness for sure. We, on the other hand, ask a lot of specific questions, of course. 3D questions like, where are you coming from? What's your name? Or do you have a base here? Or why are you coming to us and not somewhere else? Or all kind of stuff. The answer we got was that we're not coming from somewhere specifically. We are a group and not just, one species coming from one planet or so. So it's a group composed of, team members working towards the same goal. There's no name. What else? What's the goal? Consciousness, spirituality. Okay. All right. So is there any chance that you're gonna, make yourself known from the public or it's not the right time? Okay, it's not the right time. Why are you talking to us? I mean, teenagers, us, we're not able to do anything. And here you go into the spiritual aspect of things. It's all about the consciousness. And what I realized after is that it's easier actually to communicate with kids and teenagers than adults because after a certain age we have our thinking patterns set
Yeah.
into certain ways, so it's very difficult to change that. But if you do that with a kid or a teenager, then you have a chance to make that shift that is needed. So that's really what it's about.
What you said made me think of the work of Dolores Cannon. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're
Yes.
familiar with her.
Hmm.
She explains in her books that we as humans are very good with technology. It's going very, very fast, but the level of consciousness has to match the level of technology, and we are not
Right.
very good with the level of consciousness. Of maybe what you, as you said, they are here to help us raise our level of consciousness or vibration. And how could you define vibration, by the way?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Yes. How can you define that? Because that's really the core of the experience. When they come, the visitation is all about their presences. So it's not about what they say. And that's how we can probably define telepathy, I would say. Because when they came, I realized that I'm not the person I'm thinking I am when they are here.
Yeah.
I always thought that I was, that voice you have in your head talking all the time. I thought that was me. But when they come, this one is not me. There's another one deeper inside me. And that one is coming out.
Hmm.
Every time they come, the other person is coming out. And so after having that experience, multiple times, I started to doubt a little bit who I am exactly. I'm not sure who I am now, and who I can trust inside me. That other one, or the one I always dealt with, or what is this? And so that distinction between the soul and the mind is really important to make. And that's when I realized, oh, there's a soul and there's a mind. That's two different things. I had no idea. And so the vibration that they have, the frequency that they have, is really who they are, has soul or true self or whatever you want to call it. And that has really an effect on the surroundings. So anytime they come, my own vibration somehow automatically changes towards somehow matching theirs. And because of that, I can hear, and when I say hear, I mean it's not really words, but more, I'm getting a flow of information in from that presence. And it's so efficient, actually. I was thinking, wow, that's really beyond language. I mean, there's nothing you can hide. Everything's there. You can feel, you just like being part of a one consciousness. And so that collective consciousness is really an experience that they want to share, not just with me, but also with my friend that saw a UFO. And we did that experience together many times. And I got to say, it's very comforting because, most of the time in a human society, you're all by yourself. You feel alone sometimes. But when you are in that state with them, in that collective consciousness, you're not alone and everything's fine. And I never felt that before.
Is it like a spiritual guide? Like if you pray, do you get an answer, or do you feel you are guided every day in your daily life?
Yeah, I think I am. But the question is, am I listening? And I would love to
Yes.
say, yes, I'm listening. But it's not the case. It's definitely not the case. Sometimes I am listening and I'm very thankful. And sometimes it's painful to listen. So, no, I don't want to hear that.
Because you don't want them to lead you somewhere else, or you think it's not rational or something like that?
No, I think it's because I'm really in my mind, and I think my mind can drive my life better than anyone else. When you are in that position, nothing can stop you except yourself, the true self.
Yeah, as you said, the key idea is to know who we are. But it seems very simple, but it's quite hard on a daily basis. There is for example, the me Anthony, with my parents, my backstory, my French accent, and everything. But deep down, it takes practice to really connect with who I really am, as you said before. It's not that easy. It takes practice.
Absolutely. Yes. It does. Yeah, it does need. Can we say practice, or can we say something else like a shift in consciousness?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know how to call this. It's
Because when you say practice, it means that you really have to do some effort to get there, and you have to do that on a regular basis to be able to finally get there. And when you get there, it's for real, it lasts. But it does. I don't think it lasts actually first.
Yeah, but that would be a good question. Actually,
Yeah,
a lot of people could have is how can I get to know who I really am,
yeah.
to connect with my deeper self, my higher self, whatever you want to call it. Like,
Mm.
is there any trick or
Yeah, well, personally, I do a few, I'm using a few tricks to do that. The first thing I do is the diary thing is something I do even now.
Mm.
I put into words what I heard. That way I can always go back to it and said, but remember on the day you heard that, that was a good advice. You decided not to follow it. Why is that? So I'm asking questions to myself. And that usually that works.
Mm.
I really believe in dialogue and talking with the true self, talking with your mind as well, and asking your mind in a regular basis if what the mind is doing is really helpful. Is it really helpful what you're doing right now? If it's the case, I want to know why. Tell me, because I have doubts, for example. So I really do a catch, question and
Mm.
answer with my mind. And I know my mind is really working towards the true self and, providing a good experience as a human being. So he really wants the best for me, but sometimes he's working too much. So I have to tell him, slow down. It's okay to just, get some rest here. It's not about you. You don't have to think about all that right now. You can let go of certain things, and just be in the moment, because the mind love thinking about the future and also the past, anything but the present.
Okay, another topic in the book, you were also having out of body experiences.
That's right. So I am not able to control any of that now, and
Mm.
I don't want to. I'm okay with it. But many times I had that experience. That's why getting out of my body and go somewhere to be part of something like the classroom. There's a teacher, they're talking about something, a topic, and then I have to go back to my body. And when I go back to my body, I really feel what is it to use a body. You really, when you get back into it, it's just, oh yeah, that's what it was. It's so mechanical in a way. I had that many times, yeah.
And so when you were out of body, you could see your own body below, or
Yeah.
what was your vision?
No, I could see my own body. I did that many times, and I do remember one day thinking, "Oh, I really have to shave. My gosh, I forgot to shave today." Or, I was looking at my body, but without any feelings toward it. It was just, like an empty box. It's not me. I know I'm using that, but it's not me.
Mhm.
It's funny to think that, right?
You also explain in your book that you developed some really important psychic abilities, like being able to see a lot of spirits in public places, a lot of spirits around people and everything. And you were also able to hear people's thoughts. Can you talk about that a little?
Sure. So that's not something I wanted to be able to do. And that's not something I was looking forward to. That happened a little bit before my first oneness experience. So I really think that it's probably coming from, I would say, from the UFO sighting and, all the exchanges with the beings and all that, that really affected my frequency in a way. And I was able to, take on some more information, I guess. And so being able to see deceased people and also hear what someone is thinking was just a byproduct, a consequence of that UFO sighting. So as I was trying to readjust to something normal after seeing a UFO, after experiencing those visitations and all that, what happened after, and that's really what was the turning point of my experience, is what we call the oneness experience.
Yes.
I was working one day, and that was probably the first time that I received something so powerful. And when I say received, is because it really came from outside. And I received that just like a wave, like when you're on the shore, by the water, you receive waves from the sea. It was just like that. I received a wave of something, and that had an impact on not my mind, but around my chest here, like a movement. Something was moving inside. I never had that feeling before. I really thought that physically something moved inside. And I thought, wow, oh, that's great to be alive. It's wonderful. How life is wonderful. I was just like, whoa, feel like I'm born again. And then I had that again, and it would be every time more powerful.
Mhm.
And so with each and every waves, I had more joy and happiness coming, overflowing. And it became something so overwhelming that I would be, crying. I would be, yeah, in tears, because life is so wonderful. I had just no idea. And I remember that during those moments, I could see things in a more clear way,
Mhm.
meaning I could see far beyond what my eyes could see. I could hear and I could feel what the people around me are feeling and thinking. And we were just all together in that. And that's the really key point. We were all together in that. And that was so beautiful. And I felt something I never really felt like that before. I felt love from I never experienced before. Something so powerful that I thought this love is gonna destroy me because it's too powerful. I can't handle that much love. It's not possible. This body is gonna explode out of that.
I know it's not very easy to describe this oneness,
Mhm.
but you say a really good thing in your book. The most important lesson I learned from this love is I am you, you are me. There is no distinction between self and others. It's a very simple idea, but again, it's not easy to maybe explain.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Especially put into words, it's really and it took me a while actually to be able to write that and express that with words because the experience itself is, you're just one with everyone. So you're not you. You can say you are we are together, but at the same times, we are the universe experiencing the human aspect of things through us. So through different aspects, through you, Anthony, for me, you
Yes.
know,
A French philosopher said everyone is the whole universe experiencing itself from a relative human viewpoint.
yes,
I thought it was a good way of saying it. Everyone is the whole thing, basically.
yes, absolutely. Yes, we are the universe. Yeah, exploring himself through us. Each one of us has a different perspective on things. Yeah. And so I believe the oneness experience is going back to what is it to be a universe, basically. And when you go back to that, you can see all the different aspects, all the different human beings, but also plants, animals, having an experience all together at the same time. And you experience that. And that feeling was so strong and so beautiful. It just changed my whole perception of things, as you can imagine.
Yes, but then what happens when you come back from this oneness experience, like here and now? You go out on the street, and we see that people around us. I am not these people, you know. I have my life, and you get the idea. How
Yeah.
do you come back from this?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's always difficult to come back. It's difficult in a way, but it's also it's so different. It couldn't be more different than that. And so at first I was thinking, so I had that experience not just once or twice, but maybe 20 or 25 times. At some point I had that experience 3, 4, 5 times a day without any reason, just like that. That was beautiful. But I was thinking, am I supposed to stay in that state, or what's the point of having that experience that often? Because at some point you really ask yourself, which one is the real reality? Am I supposed to go this way, or is the everyday life we have here the reality of reality? What do I do with those two things? And I had no answer to that, and also I had no one to talk to about that. So I decided to, you know what? I'm gonna keep them two. I have two realities, and that's it. Both of them are reality.
Yes.
But at some point, you need to create a bridge between these two because I think there's something to be done here somehow. I had the feeling that those two different realities needs to be somehow, closer. So how am I supposed to do that? And since it's a spiritual experience, it's really about consciousness. I thought maybe I need to work on my consciousness to be able to do that bridge.
Yeah, a few years ago, I did an interview with someone who had this oneness experience.
Hmm.
And then when he came back from this experience of oneness, he got told by this, I think it was his guide or something like that from the other side,
Hmm.
that was reality. That was the real reality you just experienced.
Hmm.
This thing you experience otherwise being separate and it's just fake. You know, that's not real to some extent.
Hmm.
So, but yes, again, it's then we are here and it's not very easy, but
Yeah, but I think there's a meaning for us to be here. Otherwise, because I do remember during those oneness experiences, yes, being one with the universe is, indescribable. You cannot use words to describe the experience. But what we having here as a human being is also a beautiful experience. And it's also very short.
Yes.
That's something that I saw when I had that oneness experience. You see things, but you also experience things. And I saw my life as a human being from that perspective. And it was so short that I thought, oh my gosh, yes, it's amazing how short it is. It just goes like that.
And what is your vision of death now after all these experiences?
So I remember clearly one day I had a oneness experience and I saw my mom a whole life in front of me. I saw when she was preparing to be born, when she was born, I saw a whole life, and I saw her leaving her body. And I saw this with all the feelings that she had. And it was a wonderful experience, preparing to being born as a human being and being born and having all the challenges you have. And oh my gosh. And then when it's time, you look back and say, oh, that was really something. And off you go. And off she went. And that was such a beautiful moment. And I'm sure it is a beautiful moment. That's what I felt. So that's the vision I have now. But after that vision, to be honest with you, friends and family going on the other side, I get the sense when it's time for them to go. I can feel it. There's something. It's either their guys are coming and they're saying something, or the person itself there's a shift in the consciousness or in the frequency of that person, and I can feel it.
Okay.
Yeah. They become surprisingly more alive by the end.
And you can then experience them when they cross over to the other side, or?
That happened to me recently with a friend of mine last year, actually. He was very present into this world. He worked a lot, but he was also very spiritual at the same time. So he was very balanced as a human being. And when he went on the other side, I was very surprised that I could feel his presence that clearly. And even now, there's a strong connection, and I still feel it. So for me, it's just like he's not gone. He's still here around. And that's a beautiful thing to have, I think, that connection.
Yes, and I think a lot of people, they also see them in dreams.
That's right.
Especially for children, or when it's very hard.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people in the comments under my videos, they often ask this question, like, what's the point of coming into this life? Is there any meaning at all here beyond money and everything? What's the point of being here if you have oneness on the other side and everything is so great?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's right. Well, from my experience, the oneness dimension could be the source, you could be one with the universe, but the universe is really trying to understand himself or herself better. And so the experience of being a human being and going through all what we're going through is also priceless for the universe. I felt something very interesting one time during those oneness experience. I felt that the universe is really having a ball through us being human beings experiencing all that. And I really felt that as a feeling. I said, oh, okay, so the universe is really trying to have a ball here. Oh, okay, so maybe I can help. Maybe we can have fun together. And so I thought having fun in your life would be probably one of the best way to channel the universe through you. What do you think of that?
Yes, so you don't think this is just a trap or a jail here? There is a theory like it's just a jail. We are trapped, the soul trap.
I don't know about that. Maybe the only jail I can think about is the one you create for yourself, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Good answer. That's what I think too. And it goes back to what you said about vibration. Do you think it's the same idea as the law of attraction, the power of the mind, visualization?
Yeah, I do actually. I do think there's something about that. Absolutely. The frequency is interacting with what you have around you. And as I said before, when I had those visitation from these beings, their frequency were actually acting around and changing their surrounding according to that frequency. I saw that and I experienced that many times. Am I able to do that? I still need to work on that. But I know that it's really up to us and our frequency. You know, a lot of people ask me, what should I do? And I think it's not about doing, it's first being. How about shifting that being aspect of you to something else? And then maybe you're going to see things clearer in a way, right?
Yes, especially today, it seems like a lot of people are in search of a meaning or depressed or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it, you
yeah,
know, and they seem like, well, what, especially for near-death experiences or people talking about oneness like you,
yeah,
people feel a little bitter or angry, like, okay, this is so nice, but what about my life right now?
yeah.
Why does it feel so hopeless? You know, it's always
Uh,
this kind of question.
Well, one thing I learned from those experiences is that, you know, we talk a lot about duality, good and bad, black and white, etc., etc. I'm not saying that duality is bad. I'm just saying it is just one way to see things. And from the universe perspective, everything is worth experiencing. So even if when you are in despair or hopeless or you feel sad, it's an interesting perspective to have experience for the universe. I learned that. Now, you don't want to be hopeless for sure, not for long, but it's okay to be hopeless because then you have an opportunity to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Maybe I have expectations towards something and my expectations are not met. Well, if my expectations are not met, maybe it's because I should not go this way. There's another way for me waiting for me to, you know, go to.
Yes.
You know, there's something about expectations that I'm trying to be aware of that as much as possible. No one's perfect, and I'm still working on it. Every time my mind have expectations, I always tell myself, "Hey, you are in trouble again." Because your mind thinks that it can just handle everything for you. But that's not true. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, we think we know.
Yeah. So I think one of the game is to be aware of how much expectation are you putting into what you're doing right now, and how much of it is it affecting your mood or well-being.
Yeah.
Mm.
Learning to let go, basically, or go with the flow.
Go with the flow is one thing, yes. Not going against, yeah, things when they are going a certain direction for sure. And also let go of preconceived, yeah,
Mm.
thinking patterns. Being happy also with new experiences. Let's get out of the box, try something new. Because again, the universe is trying to have fun through us. So usually the fun comes from new things, right?
Yes, and actually, it's one of the conclusion of your book, the importance of gratitude,
Yes.
being grateful. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that?
Yes. It's very important for me, not just because of being grateful, but also because when you are grateful for things, it's a moment where you come back to the here and now. And these moments are so important. When you want to align yourself to the true self, gratefulness is the key to go back to here and now. So, as much as you can, if there's one exercise you can do on your everyday basis, that's really the gratitude exercise. You know, just stop doing whatever you do and count your blessings. Be grateful. Express that gratefulness through words. You can write them, you can say them, but do that as a prayer to the here and now.
Yes, very good. Because I was about to ask you another question before the conclusion is the importance of now. You explain in your book that there is no past, no future, only the now. And it's a very simple idea, but so hard. I try to explain that to some people around me, and I'm never successful.
No, of
Nobody
course.
understands.
No, because you know, look at your watch and you can see that the time is going and ticking. There's tomorrow. Yesterday was also a day. So yeah. But I do believe that, you know, as a human being, you have to experience time because time is also part of what we're supposed to learn. has, the universe. The universe is free of time, but the human beings are into that thin line that we have to somehow go through. So, as much as I would love to throw time in the garbage, I'm working with it, knowing that it is just an illusion and that time is not something very consistent. It can enlarge and shrink, and you are responsible for that.
Yes, and it's always now. Yesterday you were now.
Hmm.
Right now we are now. People who will listen to this podcast, whenever they listen to it, they will be now. So if it's always now, when does the future starts?
Well, that's a good question. You know what? When we say there is only now, from my experience, from that oneness experience, what I saw was that, time is not a thing. It's not about time. It's more about connections. The connection is what makes the most sense in the universe, more than just time. So when you say everything is happening at the same time, it's actually everything is connected.
Yes.
That's why. So what you do now, so to speak, is related to the past, of course, but also is acting to something else now and also to the future. It is just a way of seeing things. For me, connection is really the key concept here.
Okay, great. Maybe as a conclusion, could you give your vision about how you see the world evolving right now? How do you think there is a shift in consciousness, as you talked about, or do you think we're all doomed and everything is going to explode? Or it's a good question, actually.
It's a good question. Yes. Well, personally, what I feel is I feel very optimistic personally, especially recently. I can really feel that there's a lot of things happening now. There's a lot of new doors opening too. And I can see there's a shift in consciousness happening, and it's happening
Mm.
fast now. Wherever I go, I can really see that. So, are we doomed? I don't think we are doomed. But remember that from the universe perspective, being doomed is also an interesting experience.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
as long as we're having fun, right?
Okay, so really, it was a really great interview for me because I really love this oneness idea. It's something I always try to make a conclusion with oneness
Hmm.
in what I do.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to describe, as you said. So where can people find you if they want to know more about you?
Thank you. Well, I am very present on social media, so Facebook and Instagram, of course. If you want to read more about those experiences that I tried to describe today, Doorway to Oneness is
Yes.
available on Amazon. I have few YouTube videos. Most of them are actually in Japanese. Some of them are in English. I do speak Japanese as a foreign language.
Yes, I forgot to talk about that when I did the introduction, but you are very famous in Japan, right? And South Korea.
So I'm not sure famous is the right word, but people know of me in Japan. And yeah, we get together and we talk about oneness. And I think Japan has a real important role to play in that because of their culture.
So thank you again for this really great interview, and
Thank you.
I hope that people will connect with you. And if you have a few words as a conclusion.
Yes, let's enjoy the here and now all together.
Perfect. Thank you.